But he didn't just decide that he wanted to die. No, 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 no. He decided he had to take her with him. Oh no, you're not about to. Oh no, I'm not about to do this. And then you go out and you ride off to the sunset with your lover, happily ever after. No, we going together. That was his idea. And she was suspicious. Like, I'm like, so clearly she had to know that either he knew and that he was about to do something about it, or that she just didn't trust him no more, which was understandable with the way he was acting, taking her to dinner, buying her all kind of expensive jewelry. She put the the little necklace on. First of all, that necklace was ugly anyways, all right? I'm sorry, but it was. Like, it was bland, and if you only care about diamonds, then hey, congratulations if you thought it was cute. But that necklace was ugly to me. The design was kind of nice, kind of like a little, almost like T'Challa looking necklace kind of going on. To me, that's what it looked like. But other than that, the necklace was ugly. Anyways, expensive and ugly. Anyways, so he takes her to dinner, and then he's like, I just want to spend some time with you. Like, let's go to like the, timeshare or whatever. Like, I mean, their lake house, whatever you call those things. And he blindfolded her, and she's like, "Where are you taking me?" Like, I feel like at that moment she knew something was up, and she was like, "Where are you taking me? Like, I don't like this. Like, I don't want to be blindfolded." And he was like, and then he gonna play it off. He gonna play her, like, "Oh, I just want to spend time with you. I know I've been good, good husband. I just want to do better and all this kind of stuff." Feeding her with cookies, basically. And so, she's like, "Okay, I guess." And then they have a nice night, I guess. And then they wake up the next morning and she's handcuffed to him. He's like, "It's about time you woke up." She was like, "What are you doing?" And then he blows his brains out. I think he said something else to her right before, but he blew his brains out. And she's just sitting there like, "Oh my God." Like, and I know she had a couple of moments where she was like, "I can't believe this is happening to me." Like that moment when she was in the bed, when she got up and she had sat on the ground, like, "I can't believe he did this to me." Like, she was like, "You're not gonna screw me over like this. You're not. You're not gonna take me with you either. You're not gonna drag me with you." Literally and figuratively. She was talking about, "You're mad because you found out I was sleeping around on you. But what about all the women's lipstick I had to clean off of your collars, you hypocrite?" Calling them all kinds of SOBs and whatnot. And I was like, how do you even do? I'm sorry, I wouldn't have even gotten past the blood splatter and guts on her face. I wouldn't have even gotten past that part. Okay. There was no more bullets, so she couldn't blow the chain off. There were no knives because he threw them all out. The phones, I think all the phones, like nothing was working in the house, and it was like snowing outside. She manages to the dress, her wedding dress, I guess, was in there. She put him on it to make it easier to drag him around. And she goes outside thinking, "Oh, yes, the car, yes, of course." She gets in the car, it turns on the heat, and then it goes off, and she realizes that he's siphoned, and he left her a message, siphoned all the gas out, left her a message talking about, "Haha, even if you did get this far, no gas for you." And I'm just like, that's so evil. That's so evil. And she was like, "Ah!" And so she gets out of the car. And then she goes back in the house. She's trying to figure out what to do. Then her lover shows up, and she was like, "So you do realize that this is not a coincidence." She was like, "Think. Like, he sent you here on purpose." And she was like, we got to do something. Call the police or do something. She was like, I don't want to be indicted on a murder charge because I did not kill him. He blew his own brains out." And he was like, "Well, why did you clean off the blood?" And she was like, Why wouldn't I? I didn't want it on my face." He was like, "Well, look, you just kind of destroyed the evidence, though. I'm going to be honest." And he was trying to help her, but then crazy. Oh, well, I can't call them both crazy, but came there and was like, she was like, "Oh God, somebody's coming." She was like, "It's the police." And like, "Oh, I don't know who it is." And so here's another thing. He was talking about something, "Oh, let me call the police." And then he couldn't even do that for her because he left his phone on the charger in his car. And I was like, of course you would leave your phone on the charger in your car. And that time that he took to go out to the car to get it, that he could have spent doing that to call the police, was wasted because, him standing there, the time he could have been using standing there to call the police was wasted because he had to go back to his car to go get the phone off the hook. I was like, brother, you might as well have just killed yourself because, well, not to say it like that, but brother, you might as well have just, I don't know, he should have just, I don't know. But, and then too, even if the police would have got there, let's be honest, who were they going to blame? They were going to look at her with blood all over her, chained to her dead husband. They were going to look at him, and then they were going to shoot him. That's how that would have went. But I guess that didn't matter anyways because, of the fate he got. But honestly, at first I was like, why didn't they just, he should have just been like, you grab the hands, I'll grab the legs, and pick him up and carry him to the car and then drive off. But then again, that other guy did have a gun, and he could have just shot the tires out, or shot them, like, while they were driving. I don't know how that would have worked out, but that was one thing they could have did, but I don't know. It might not have went well. But he's standing outside talking about just stay inside, I'll handle this, trying to be her man, I guess, and try to handle what was going on. The other guy was like, I just need to step inside. Can I just use the restroom for like 5 minutes? And he was like, nah, fam, get to step in. Like, just get out. And then his brother, which was the guy that her husband let out of prison, that put her in the hospital, comes out talking about some, well, he didn't even shoot the guy. He stabbed him multiple times, and that was just so sad, like watching him getting stabbed against the door. And she was just like, oh god. And then her like moving through the house. Now I'd give it to her, she was moving, like she was getting that done. She was moving, she was dragging his body, moving from place to place. Like how she was moving, she was doing it quick, because she was determined to stay alive. She was like, I am determined to not lose at this sick game that you tried to play on me. And she did that thing. And like that part where she was like trying to hide from the brother, and she was like moving from I think the shed to like the house, and he was coming out the front door, and she like laid down in the grass in the snow, and he didn't even realize. He's just walking like talking about, oh, I didn't sign up for this, and she's just like, oh, thank God. And then she gets up and she keeps moving, and then the part where she was like in the shed and like she was trying to hack his arm off and then put the cover over her when he came, and he was like when he saw the body, he was like and he went back and he was like, it's in there, and he was like, what are you talking about? So the dead man. And he was like, just show me, like. And I'm like, clearly this like I said, this line of work was obviously, he was not cut out for, his brother was not cut out for that line of work at all. And then of course she used that time to hack his arm off, because like I said, he had gotten rid of all of like the knives, so she couldn't cut off his hand, his thumb, didn't have no hammer to break nothing on him to slip his hand out of the handcuff. But she found that machete and she hacked his hand off, and she laid him right the way he was, and then she rolled up under that bench. And I was like, man, she's doing it, man. She's surviving. Like, her will to live is strong, and she was doing good up until, I think it was up until like she had went back in the house, because there was one scene where she was under the car, and I was like, oh god, like that was nerve-wracking. Her running from him under that car, and him like slicing the tires, and I'm like, oh god, the car is going to fall on her, But she made it out alive, and she did. I forgot about that. She did manage to get to his car and call the police from his phone, from the lover's phone. And it was just sad, because like whenever she got back to his body inside the house, she was like, dang. And like she overheard the guy say, oh, she's not gonna get far without shoes. And so I was like, I get it, like that moment was not to be thinking like morally, like, oh, I shouldn't be stealing from the dead. Like, she had to survive, so she took his shoes and his jacket, I think his jacket too. And so she had got back in the house. There was, there was one part where she had got back in the house, and she had, I think she had like a crowbar or something, and she hit the brother and locked him inside the room. And so I was like, now she could have like hit him, and while he was trying to get up, kept hitting him and beat him to death with that crowbar for attacking her, like with his brother. But her goal was not to kill anybody. It was just to get away from them and stop them from trying to hurt and kill her. But then they got her, they cornered her, and she was like, look, I don't know what the combination of the safe was, because that was the whole thing. I guess him letting him out, paying them to like make her life miserable basically, and then get the diamonds that were supposedly in the stupid safe, as a reward. And he was like, well, you better think about what the combination is. And she was like, well, I would assume that it was our stupid anniversary date, so you can stupid take that and stupid enter it in this stupid case. And so he was like, all right. And so what is it? XXXX beep 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 beep. And then there was a note, and I'm like, are you kidding? I was like, this guy, like I said, evil, left a note talking about the diamonds are closest to her heart. He was like, what in the heck does that even mean? And then he looks at her necklace, and he was like, oh, they're on the necklace. And she was like, no, please, look, I can't take it off. She was like, get this thing off me. She's like telling the brother, get this thing off me. He was like, look, just calm down. Don't hurt her. Please don't hurt her. I will help you get the diamonds off. He was so nice to her. Like, He was just a nice guy. He was so nice to her. He was like, don't worry, I'll help you get the diamonds off. And he's like pulling all kinds of things out of a bag, like a rabbit out of a hat, trying to like saw it off, and none of it was working. Because I'm like, y'all do realize, you know, there's a scale where, like, you know, different materials are, you know, judged, you know, or ranked in strength. Y'all do know what place diamonds fall in there, right? But anyway, so they couldn't get it off. Of course, spoiler alert. And, you know, he was like, are you kidding me? I could just separate her head from her shoulders. Get out of the way. And he was like, no, don't do that. We said we weren't going to kill anybody. And he was like very adamant about like not killing anybody, because he felt bad that his brother stabbed that other, you know, her lover basically. And they start tussling, and he knocks his brother into, it was something with some kind of blunt end, but I guess apparently sharp enough to pierce into his skull. And he died. And I was like, oh my God, that was the only person stopping him from killing her. And then he had the audacity, these people with the audacity in this film, to turn around and say, this is your fault. And then they start fighting. And during that time, she had like, cause well, after she had got him off her, they latched him back on, but she was like taking the keys and like getting it all, and picked up his knife that I think he had dropped somewhere. And they start fighting, and somehow she managed to get the upper hand on him. And she latched him on, and she ran. He was trying to like run after her while he was like dragging the body, which was slowing him down. And she ran outside, but he managed to like, oh God, he managed to catch up with her. But she had that knife, and then the ice broke, because all three of them, so a literal dead weight connected to another grown man, connected to a grown woman. That ice was like, they all fell. Well, actually, the dead body fell. Then it being connected to the guy pulled him down, and he literally dragged her down with him. But then she had the knife, and she stabbed him, and that's what made him let her go. And then, of course, being connected to literal dead weight, as I said before, when you're underwater, weight, I would assume, is heavier. So he got pulled down to the bottom where he should have been, and she managed to break through the ice and get back on top just in time for the police to arrive. And I was like, wow, good luck explaining what happened, but wow, I'm glad that she survived. I hate that her lover got stabbed to death, but at least she's alive, you know. And I just, like I said, the audacity of the people in this film, and like I said, being treated like him, you know, her husband treating her like an object basically. But there's a lot of people who will do it, like, oh, you know, they just feel like they're so high and mighty and up there, like, you know. But I was like, well, at least she survived. I mean, she fought too. She said it when she was in the house. She was like, I'm not gonna let you win, and she didn't. Like, and like I said, her walking out into the snow, like, I don't know how she didn't like die of hypothermia, like, out there, because it wasn't like snowing, like, oh, little snow. No, it was like snowing, and she was walking like basically barefooted until she stole her lover's shoes, took his shoes off and put them on her feet. She was walking around in the snow barefooted basically. And like I said, when she fell in the water, like, I know, you know, I get it, like, you're not gonna freeze up instantly, but I still don't know how she didn't die from hypothermia, especially after falling in the water. But like I said, the authorities came shortly thereafter, and she was rescued, you know. This movie was crazy, but it was fun to watch. Ooh, it kept me on the edge of my seat, especially when they were chasing her through the house. Well, anyways, y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. Let me know how you felt about this movie.